What's good, football fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Voice of the Fans recap. Today we had the Patriots that flew into town to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. The Patriots actually came out of here with the victory, but it wasn't like last season. Last season they mollywhopped these guys 45-0. Today, completely different story. It was 27-24. They won the game in the final drive of the fourth quarter when they went up by 10. To score a touchdown and go up by 10. Chargers came back to kick a field goal, keep it close. However, it was Justin Herbert, the Wonder Boy. He struggled for the second game in a row. He had his worst quarterback rating of the season at 66. 2 weeks ago against Baltimore, it was 67. So 2 consecutive games under that 70% quarterback rating mark. It's not a good look for Herbert, so there's some things have to change there. He says, Coach Staley preached patience and discipline. A couple things that they needed to improve on. Herbert says he needs to get the ball out faster. It's on him. He's taking responsibility for this loss. Keenan Allen says this is they keep shooting themselves in the foot. Penalties really hurt them. There was only five penalties for 40 yards, 8 yards of penalty, but penalties came at some crucial moments in the game. Justin Jackson did have a 75-yard run, which was the second longest non-TD run in Chargers history, so he gets credit for that. However, the rest of the game, the rest of the Chargers itself, they ran for 180 yards, so they had good production overall. Really eerie things about this game is they led in red zone efficiency. They were 2 for 2, where the New England was 1 for 4. The Chargers, again, they ran for 6.4 yards a carry, where the Patriots ran for 4.7 yards a carry. So they gained more rushing yards than their opponent. Time of possession was heavily in the New England factor, as you might expect it coming into the game with the rookie quarterback and the running game that they had. They held the ball 35 minutes to the Chargers 24 minutes, which really didn't give Herbert and the Chargers offense enough time to get going. But then that's on their fault because they didn't convert on a lot of third downs. The third down efficiency was 3 for 17. And the Patriots were 1 for 7, so neither team was great in that category, but the Patriots got a turnover. They got 10 points off of turnovers. Interception at the end of the first half, and then Adrian Phillips, former Charger, ended up running back a pick six of Herbert's. It was on a miscommunication. If you guys saw the game on Thursday night, it was very similar to Kyler Murray and Green. Their miscommunication, which caused for a game-ending interception. Well, this one caused for essentially a game-winning pick because that put them up by 10 points and then kind of put the game out of reach, so to speak. So the Chargers do have some things to work on. Again, it was in talking to Coach Staley after the game. Staley mentions patience and discipline because the Chargers the New England Patriots weren't doing anything. It sounds like the Chargers weren't expecting. They just weren't disciplined enough to execute the plan and stay underneath. Go for the underneath balls. Go for the check downs. Herbert apparently was wanting to go deep. Only threw 2 interceptions. Both of those were kind of questionable, not questionable plays, but they weren't. It wasn't because he was forcing plays. New England took advantage of kind of some missed opportunities there for the Chargers. So is it something to be concerned about? Certainly it is, because it's 2 games back-to-back coming off of a bye that you'd expect the team to be really sharp coming off of a bye. Well, Bill Belichick has something in store for him. You know how he is against young quarterbacks. His record is impeccable. I think it's don't quote me on this, but last I checked, it was probably like 65-5 against young quarterbacks. So Bill Belichick really has a good way of frustrating young quarterbacks, and that's what we saw today, is where they were dropping. They weren't going to play man to man, but they dropped back in zone. But they made it look like it was man to man in some scenarios. So causing some confusion there for Herbert. He wasn't able to get in rhythm. That's 2 weeks again. That the only concerning thing for me is that's 2 games in a row where he hasn't had a stellar game. You don't expect nobody. I didn't expect these guys to go undefeated. However, when you have consecutive mediocre games or mediocre games, that is concerning. We'll see what they do next week. They travel to Philadelphia, so they have that matchup next week. We'll see how they perform next week against the Eagles, who got a big victory today. But it's that they're going to need Justin Herbert to get in rhythm. They're going to need to capitalize on these third downs. Today, the 3 for 17, they're going to have to be much better than that on the road, you would suspect. So we'll see how they come back. Thanks again for following me on all my platforms. What's Good in Sports is the website. Voice of Fans on Instagram. What's Good in Sport, singular. What's Good, the letter N, Sport, singular, on Twitter. Make sure you follow me. I'll give you some good nuggets throughout the week on the Chargers. Also talk a lot of basketball and then much more football throughout. So make sure you follow me. What's Good in Sports. This is Cam Buford, Voice of the Fans. I also run my Voice of the Fans YouTube or podcast on YouTube now every week, so you can find it a couple different places. Voice of the Fans on YouTube or H&B Media on YouTube. Make sure you check both of those sites out. I want to thank you for tuning in, and then give me some feedback. Let me know what you want to hear about regarding the Chargers. What should we be discussed, or what should be written about for the Chargers? And then I'll also open things up to a Ask Cam session. So please get your questions ready. Let me know. Give me some feedback. I want to thank you for your time. And as always, thank you for making my voice your choice. Have a great one. Talk to you soon, fans.